If that's the case, I would ask, and we're sending now a second cohort of teachers to a 7-part series talking about formative assessment. They're going to be working at CSU for 7 different full days over the next year and trying to bring that back to the whole staff to talk about formative assessment. Formative assessments are not graded. They're not supposed to be graded. They're supposed to be feedback that tells me if I'm on the right track. Am I in the right direction? Homework should be viewed most often, though not always, depends on what the assignment is, as formative, not as summative. It's not the final assessment that I took. So if I can get A's on the summative assessments, which demonstrates that I understood and mastered everything, why am I getting knocked down 40% of my academic grade? I demonstrated mastery. That tells me that the homework was being used more as, I don't want to say punitive, but more as just yeah, it's a check off. Not really, is it really part of the understanding? Because if it was, then I would be asking you to do those. If you came back and understood none of the 25 questions that I gave you as a math teacher, I'm going to put a 0. If I were sitting now with that teacher in a supervisory evaluative conversation, I would have a question then. How is it possible for a student to not participate or engage in any of the work that went on in the class, yet get an A on your exam? How is that possible? Meaning, did you challenge that student? If I noticed early on that this youngster wasn't doing homework and walked in and could get 100 on my test, then I would have one-on-one said, we need to do something. That's what differentiates. We need to do something different because this isn't pushing you yet. We're gonna go a different direction with you. You know, so it really shouldn't be possible. I mean, one would think that shouldn't be possible. Or if it did happen, then I never really challenged you.
I agree with that in a technical subject, but if you're looking at something like English, where they're reading and writing an essay,
right,
and they're not doing the essays in between, but they're still doing really well on the exam because they write well and they did end up reading the book, or at least the essays.
But here's the issue: essays in between could be summative events, not formative.
Oh, right.
Now, the draft is formative. So would I hammer you with a grade on your draft that's going to downgrade your final project? I would question that. You should bring it. It's a draft. We're supposed to chew on it. We're supposed to try and get it better, right? And then your final piece after the feedback is the culminating thing. So if it's a draft, why would I... So how does that work? In fact, I taught a course in college and I told the students outright, as many times as you are willing to rewrite this paper, I'm willing to reread it and sit with you and give you feedback. And we can go on all semester. If you want to continue to improve this, we'll go back and forth. I'll work with you as long as you want to go.
And I know you have some teachers
who will do that. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, I said the university has a date at which they're going to say we have to stop.
Final draft.
and there we are. But if you want to work, I'm going to work. Let's go. You know. So, but I'm not grading those, meaning that it's a work in progress. It continues to be a work in progress. I didn't say, okay, you get dinged for all of those that were maybe not your best piece. Your best piece was what we ended with. So, again, it's back to the question of what's homework, what's grading, what's summative, what's formative. What are we using as a learning experience and feedback? And what's really the final statement of what you could do on an independent effort without assistance, and that's a statement of your mastery. Those are different things, and we're not as good as we should be yet in deciphering the difference between those.